The Jurgen Klopp era at Liverpool is officially coming to an end. The German coach has been at the helm of the club since 2015 and has cemented his legacy in England. With a Premier League title, an FA Cup, and 3 Champions League final appearances, with a win coming in 2019, there's no doubt that he has done a great job in one of the toughest clubs in European football. With Klopp announcing his departure from Liverpool in late January, many fans were hoping for a storybook ending to his time as head coach. But with the Premier League title slipping away, the Europa League out of their grasp, and a dramatic exit from the FA Cup, the famous German coach might have to settle for an underwhelming end to a rather successful tenure as Liverpool's head coach. Today we take a brief look at how each of his seasons in the English top flight played out as we focus on what went wrong this year and the future of Liverpool moving forward. Jurgen Klopp began his Liverpool career in 2015 after 3 somewhat disappointing seasons under Brendan Rodgers. He was stepping into a club that hadn't won the league for 25 years, hadn't won an FA Cup for 9 years, and were 10 years removed from their last Champions League final win. While the role he was entering was an uphill battle considering Liverpool had gotten 10 points from their first 8 games, Klopp would get his first league win for his new club in his 3rd league match as Liverpool would go on to beat Chelsea in a thrilling 3-1 win. The rest of the season would come in waves for Liverpool as they finished with 13 wins, 9 draws, and 8 losses under Klopp, finishing in 8th place in the Premier League with 60 points. Their time in the FA Cup would be rather short as they would lose to West Ham in the 4th round by a score of 2-1 on aggregate. They would come ever so close to winning the League Cup, losing to Manchester City on penalties in the final match. Their Europa League campaign was rather successful as they topped their group, beating Manchester United, Dortmund, and Villarreal on their way to the final, only to lose to Sevilla in the final. Jurgen Klopp's first season at Liverpool had some highs and many more lows, but the best was yet to come for the club. The 2016 season would see Liverpool bring in Sadio Mane, Jorginho Wijnaldum, and Loris Karius, among others, as Klopp's side were looking to improve on the year before. Liverpool would improve in the Premier League, finishing 4th overall with 76 points, achieving 22 wins, 10 draws, and 6 wins, while scoring 78 goals and conceding 42. Felipe Coutinho and Sadio Mane would both finish with 13 league goals, while new signing Karius would manage 3 clean sheets in the Premier League. Liverpool would lose in the 4th round of the FA Cup yet again, this time to Wolves in a 2-1 match. The EFL Cup would see Liverpool get to the semi-finals, only to lose to Southampton 2-0 on aggregate. With no European football, Liverpool had a decent season all things considered, but were still far away from being a European powerhouse. The 2017 season saw Liverpool bring in Mohamed Salah, Andrew Robertson, and Virgil van Dijk, with the Dutch centre-back joining in the winter transfer window. Liverpool would finish 4th in the league yet again, finishing with 75 points coming from 21 wins, 12 draws, and 5 losses, while scoring 84 goals and conceding 38. Mohamed Salah would go on to score 32 goals in the Premier League, finishing as the top scorer. The club went out in the 4th round of the FA Cup yet again, losing 3-2 to West Brom. They would also lose in the 3rd round of the EFL Cup, falling to Leicester City in a 2-0 loss. After getting past Porto, Manchester City, and Roma in the Champions League, they would face Real Madrid in the final. A wild game from start to finish would see Liverpool come ever so close, losing to Madrid by a score of 3-1. Overall, Klopp's 3rd year in charge would be the most successful so far, with the Champions League final appearance proving to everyone that while they hadn't won the ultimate prize, they weren't far away. The 2018 season would see Liverpool acquire Alisson, Naby Keita, and Fabinho, making key improvements to an already strong lineup. Liverpool would finish the season in 2nd place with 97 points, just missing out on the league title by 1 point to Manchester City. This result came from 30 wins, 7 draws, and only 1 loss, while scoring 89 goals and only conceding 22. Salah and Mane would go on to score 22 goals each in the league, while new signing Alisson had an impressive 21 clean sheets. Liverpool would go crashing out of the FA Cup in the 3rd round, losing to Wolves yet again. Their chances in the EFL Cup would be just as bad, going out in the 3rd round after losing to Chelsea. However, they would save their season by coming up big in the Champions League. After a very underwhelming group stage performance that saw them only manage 9 points, they would defeat Bayern Munich, Porto, and Barcelona on their way to yet another Champions League final. This time around, they would get the win against Tottenham, winning by a score of 2-0 and claim their first Champions League title since 2005. While they had fallen just short of the league title, Jurgen Klopp's side were finally champions, and the German manager had finally proven himself on the big stage. The 2019 season saw Liverpool make few changes to their squad. They would go on to win the Premier League in convincing fashion, as Klopp and his side secured Liverpool's first league title in 30 years. With 32 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses, and 85 goals scored with only 33 conceded, Liverpool's 99-point season was an outstanding success. Salah finished the season with 19 goals, while Alisson managed 13 clean sheets in the league. Klopp's quest for his first FA Cup would have to wait, as Liverpool lost in the 5th round to Chelsea. The EFL Cup would also have to wait, as Liverpool lost in dramatic fashion to Aston Villa in the quarterfinals. In the Champions League, Liverpool would go on to top their group, only to go out in the round of 16 after losing to Atletico Madrid. While their other competitions may have been lackluster, their Premier League title made for yet another successful season for Klopp and his side. The 2020 season would see Liverpool sign Diogo Jota and Thiago while sticking to their championship squad as best as possible. They would have a very disappointing season in the Premier League, finishing 3rd with just 69 points coming from 20 wins, 9 draws, 9 losses, while scoring 68 goals and conceding 42. Salah would lead the way with 22 goals, while Alisson would only manage 10 clean sheets during the campaign. Liverpool would go crashing out of the FA Cup yet again, losing to Manchester United in the 4th round. They would bow out in the same round in the EFL Cup after losing to Arsenal on penalties. Their Champions League campaign would see them top their group, beating RB Leipzig in the round of 16, only to lose to Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. Without a title and with nothing to show for, this season was easily the lowlight for both Klopp and Liverpool during his time as head coach at the club. The 2021 season would see the club bring in Ibrahima Konate while losing Jorginho Wijnaldum in the process. They would bounce back from the previous season, finishing in 2nd place with 92 points, coming from 28 wins, 8 draws, 2 losses, and scoring a whopping 94 goals while only conceding 26. Salah would finish the season as the club's top scorer for the 5th straight year, scoring 23 goals in the Premier League. Liverpool would finally win their first FA Cup title under Jurgen Klopp after an intense final that went to penalties versus Chelsea. The club would also go on to win the EFL Cup after yet another penalty shootout win in the final versus Chelsea. Liverpool would cruise to the Champions League final, beating Inter, Benfica, and Villarreal along the way. A rematch of the 2018 final would see them face off against Real Madrid, only to come up short, losing by a score of 1-0. Liverpool had come so close to achieving the historic quadruple, but all in all, this was yet another great season for both Jurgen Klopp and his club. The 2022 season would see Liverpool bring in Darwin Núñez while losing Sadio Mane to Bayern. The club had a disappointing run in the Premier League, finishing in 5th place with only 67 points. They would manage 19 wins, 10 draws, and 9 losses, scoring 75 goals and conceding 47. Salah would lead the way with 19 goals in the league, while new signing Núñez only managed 9. Liverpool would crash out of the FA Cup in the 4th round, losing to Brighton by a score of 2-1. They would also bow out of the EFL Cup at the same stage, losing 3-2 to Manchester City. They would make it out of their Champions League group, but got thrashed by Real Madrid in the round of 16, losing 6-2 on aggregate. A very disappointing season for both Jurgen Klopp and his club. It started to seem as if Liverpool's glory days were behind them. The culmination of Jurgen Klopp's efforts at Liverpool brings us to the 2023 season. On January 26th, in an emotional video release, the German coach announced that he would be leaving the club at the end of the season. At the time of his announcement, Liverpool were first in the league, they were entering the 4th round of the FA Cup, had just secured their spot in the final of the EFL Cup, and had topped their Europa League group with 12 points. It was looking like his final season with the club would end with distinction, but it all came crashing down. With only 1 win in his last 5 games, the title race is all but over for Liverpool, who have almost no chance of getting past Manchester City or Arsenal with 3 games remaining in the season. The FA Cup slipped out of his grasp after a thrilling 4-3 match to Manchester United in the quarterfinals, where they came ever so close to winning but lost in the last seconds of the game. The club did manage to win the EFL Cup after an extra time win versus Chelsea, but that achievement was quickly overshadowed by Liverpool's exit from the Europa League after losing to Atalanta in the quarterfinals. Klopp's last season at Liverpool won't end the way he would have liked, but there's no doubt that his legacy at the club will never be forgotten. Jurgen Klopp is one of the best coaches in the world, but his time at Liverpool can be taken one of 2 ways. Looking at his career stats with the club, Klopp has managed 505 matches with 306 wins, 109 draws, and 90 losses. While a 60% win rate is certainly impressive, it doesn't tell the whole story. If we take a look at Liverpool's standings in the Premier League from 2016, Klopp's first full season, to 2022 being last season's campaign, the numbers tell a different story. Liverpool's results are as follows: 4th place, 4th place, 2nd place, 1st place, 3rd place, 2nd place, and 5th place. While 2018 and 2021 would see Liverpool come ever so close to a title, the other years proved that their title hopes were long gone before the end of the season. If we look at his FA Cup record, it's clear to see that apart from his win in 2021, there were some very questionable losses to some less competitive teams over the seasons. The same goes for his EFL Cup record, where the 2021 and 2023 wins stick out amid some unfortunate losses in previous years. Finally, Liverpool's record in the Champions League comes with an impressive 3 Champions League final appearances, but only 1 win. With 1 Premier League title, 1 FA Cup, 2 EFL Cups, and 1 Champions League, you can't argue that Klopp has won everything he's needed to win in England, but one question remains: is it enough to cement his legacy as an all-time coach? So there you have it, Jurgen Klopp's era at Liverpool is coming to an end. Whether you're a Liverpool fan or not, you can't deny the fact that he's changed the club for the better, and it will be interesting to see which direction the club decides to go to from here. But what do you think of Jurgen Klopp's time at Liverpool? Let me know in the comments below, as well as your predictions for the last few games of the season. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more football content, tier lists, and everything in between, and as always, I'll catch you next time.